All right, Broncos country, looks like we are live, but you guys know the drill by now. We got to let the stream breathe for just a second here and make sure that everything is nice and stable all across the YouTube platform. Welcome in, Broncos country, to this impromptu Denver Broncos Syndicate live stream, as we've got several matters of breaking news to attend to. We'll go ahead and give it a couple of seconds here just for some people to start streaming in, and then we will get into things. But while we do that, guys, if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on this stream as well as subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you guys want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member today. I would really appreciate it. It's not mandatory whatsoever, but if you guys want some extra perks and incentives in exchange for helping me out and helping this channel grow, I would really appreciate it. The link is in the description below. We've got 14 people in the house already, so let's just go ahead and get right into the first matter of news here. The Denver Broncos have added current starting left guard Alex Palczewski to the injury report due to an illness. He's listed as questionable for Sunday's game. Obviously, this is less than ideal news, as Alex Palczewski has done a really good job filling in for Ben Powers. Matt Peart got the first crack at replacing Ben Powers against the Jets in London. He suffered that MCL injury, and unfortunately, it showed throughout the course of the game. He didn't play well as a result. Palcho came in, and he has stabilized that position. If Palcho's unable to go, I would have to imagine that Calvin Throckmorton would be the Denver Broncos starting left guard. That is less than ideal. Calvin Throckmorton, I do believe, would play well. The problem is it screws up the continuity on your offensive line. Calvin Throckmorton, he looked good in training camp. He looked good in the preseason. I thought he had some really nice reps, especially in that preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals. But in this game, he's going to be going up against one of the better defensive fronts in the NFL that the Houston Texans have. So obviously, the Broncos are going to have to make some adjustments, both from a schematic perspective and a personnel perspective, in the event that Alex Palczewski is unable to go. We've got Maverick in the house. Good to see you, my man. Says, uh-oh. Yeah, it might be an uh-oh. We're just going to have to wait and see on this situation. We don't know what kind of illness this is. Don't really want to know, honestly. But if he's able to go, then he's probably going to possibly be on a pitch count or not be his full self out there. Regardless, this is not a good situation. I'm kind of hoping it's just like a respiratory thing, honestly. Generally, you can work through those, but generally you can, but I don't know, man. It's frustrating as I cough my lungs out right now for a very different reason. If you know, you know. So that is the first bit of Denver Broncos news that came down within the last few minutes here. The second bit, I want to go ahead and bring this in from Chris Thomason. Or I'm sorry, I want to go ahead and actually bring this first in from Parker Gabriel, then we'll go back to Chris. The Broncos are elevating 41-year-old tight end Mercedes Lewis from the practice squad for Sunday's game at Houston. Not much of a surprise considering they brought him in. Nate Atkins ruled out. Lucas Kroll most likely done for the year. So Mercedes Lewis, it was all but a guarantee that he was going to play in this game. Additionally, with Marvin Mims out, they've elevated Michael Bandy from the practice squad. That's going to allow the Denver Broncos to have an extra return man out there. But what Denver Rouch points out here is there's only going to be 4 corners up. So it is a bit of a surprise that Reese Taylor isn't being elevated. And I'm sure Denver would have liked to have known about Calvin Throckmorton's situation a little bit earlier, because they could have maybe adjusted accordingly with their personnel on the offensive line. It sucks that you only get 2 elevations from the practice squad, because I honestly feel like the Broncos would have elevated like 3 or 4 players here if they would have had the opportunity to do so. Now, I want to go ahead and bring this in here from Chris Thomason. Mercedes Lewis, at age 41, is going to top Craig Morton for the oldest player to appear in a Broncos regular season game. Morton was 39 years old and 9 months. counting postseason, Peyton Manning was 39 years old, 10 months, and 14 days. So the Broncos have never had a player over the age of 40 suit up in a game for them. That is going to change in this upcoming game. So that's a pretty cool piece of history right there. But obviously, the big news here is going to be the Alex Palczewski situation, and that's something that we will monitor. If he's able to fight through this illness, then great. The Denver Broncos dodged a massive bullet there. But if he's not able to fight through this illness, then, like I said, Denver's going to have to make multiple adjustments from a schematic perspective, possibly helping him out, giving him some extra protection on that side, double teams, etc., etc. And if Calvin Throckmorton has to play, they're also just going to have to trust that he does well out there. We've got Racer asking if Crum could play guard. He could, but the problem with playing a tall dude like Frank Crum on the interior offensive line is that it makes it kind of hard for the quarterback to see over him. Crum's the tallest dude on the team. I want to say he's like 6'10" or something like that. So you don't want Frank Crum playing on the interior unless you absolutely have to. I think Calvin Throckmorton is probably going to be the play over Frank Crum. The Broncos should have put Pat on IR. I don't know about that. They're very confident that Pat's only going to miss the 3 games. The bye week's going to help with that. It's the same situation with Nate Atkins. Some other news broke today that Nate Atkins is not going to go on IR. They're hoping that he could possibly be back for the Washington game as well. So I'm okay with it at the end of the day. I understand maybe the roster spot, but that would have meant that Pat would have had to miss another game. So we didn't really want to do that. Yes, we did elevate Mercedes Lewis. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the stream. He's going to become the oldest player in Broncos history and first player over the age of 40 to suit up in a game. So that is going to be pretty cool. Crum's too soft. I don't think he's soft, but he is still raw. He was very raw coming out of the University of Wyoming. That's why he didn't get drafted. The Broncos knew that he was probably going to be like a 2-3 year project. So, yeah, man, Frank Crum, they're going to have to possibly trust him to move forward in a starting role if they get another injury on the offensive line. But as of right now, I don't think we're going to see Frank Crum out there. I think it's going to be Calvin Throckmorton. We don't know what it is, and quite frankly, I don't really want to know. So, yeah. Are the Broncos due for a loss? Houston poses an interesting challenge for sure. It depends on what version of the Broncos show up. We broke it down in full detail in the game preview video that we posted on the channel earlier today. So if you want to get my in-depth thoughts on the game, then I'm going to direct you there. But the short version is, I do think Denver matches up well against Houston's offensive line. They should be able to get after C.J. Stroud and harass them. And then for the Broncos defense, for the Broncos offense pass rush at bay, then I think things are going to bode pretty well for them overall. All right, Broncos country, we're going to go ahead and wind down this little impromptu stream here. Had multiple bits of Denver Broncos news that I wanted to get out. Figured this would be better than a video. So if you could just do me a big favor again and smash the like button as well as subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Both free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. Additionally, if you guys want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, be sure to consider becoming a channel member, get some extra perks, incentives, help improve the production quality of these videos, etc., etc. I would really appreciate it. Link in the description below. If the Broncos offense played like they did last week, then they shouldn't lose. I 100% agree with that. But again, they played against one of the worst defenses last week. They're going to be playing against one of the best defenses this week. So it's going to pose a tough challenge, but I do trust this Broncos team to rise to the challenge. All right, guys. And until next time, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.